disappointing is it to you, working in state parks, that someone intentionally destroyed this historic property?
It's horrible. I have a 9-year-old son who, because of all the disasters in Butte County, who isn't going to get to see the mansion. We've talked for years of taking him up to the tower to get to see this where his dad works, and now he'll never have that opportunity. So, very much so.
Was this a warming fire? What kind of fire did this begin as?
I can't go into those details, man. I apologize.
You believe it was a homeless individual who started this fire?
Again, I can't tell you any details of the investigation. It is an active investigation. We're still working on it. So
what specific charges would this person face?
Once we've concluded investigation, the minimum will be arson, but there could be other charges as well. So, do you have another question? Who are you with?
At KRCR Channel 7, we're ready.
Okay.
Let's say it was a warming fire, for example, and it was not intentional. Would that still qualify as arson?
We would have to look at all the details to that. And again, I want to share more information. We do. The team has been working tirelessly on this, but I don't want to compromise this investigation, and I don't want to say something that's going to cause any delays or anything that's going to contradict or stop us from pursuing this investigation and getting this done as quickly as possible. So I do apologize for not having a ton that we can share. Nothing that I can share with you, no.
Do you think telling us where in the building the fire started, how would that compromise the investigation?
So I'll be honest, I'm not a fire investigator, and so that's why we called in the state fire marshal. We have CAL FIRE's local team. We have a lot of other detectives, the Sierra Regional Arson Task Force helping us, because they are the experts, and we're relying on them for that information and for a lot of that expert knowledge that we don't have, that state parks does not have directly. And
is there someone from the fire marshal's office who could address that aspect of it?
They're not going to, because we're not going to compromise the criminal investigation. And that was a decision that was made by the state parks and CAL FIRE.
It seems like this fire spread extremely quickly. Why did the fire spread so fast through this building?
Again, that is part of the arson investigation. That I can't share that information with you.
I don't think it's part of the investigation. What is it about this building that caused it to burn so quickly? That's not part of the investigation.
It is, and I can't share that with you. But I will ask and answer another question if someone else would like a chance.
Jake, Chico Enterprise Record. Is there any security footage in the area that you guys have looked into?
We've come down and we've talked to all of our community partners. As you can see behind, we have all the different agencies. We're working with the city of Chico and all the different agencies very closely. And we are going to thoroughly investigate this and pull whatever we can. So as far as what footage is or isn't there, I can't speak to that. But we are going to reach out to all of our partners because this was an icon for the community, for all of us, and we are going to figure out who did this.
There's a determination been made yet about whether any of the building is salvageable, and if not, what are the options?
Nothing has been determined yet. We are still kind of looking at that. There's going to be several meetings, and we'll have experts coming out later this week to start looking through and trying to determine what we can and can't do. Currently, it's not in a safe condition, so we really urge the public to stay out of the area. I know it's a very tempting. It's a piece of history, but stay out of the area just for safety. Come around, look at it from the fence line, but right now it's not safe, and we're still trying to assess that. We've had people last week and this week, and we have additional stuff going on later this week to really see what we can do to get in there and assess everything.
And after that evaluation is made, who would ultimately decide what the district?
Well, I can turn this over to District Superintendent Matt Teague, but ultimately this is going to be a conversation between everybody. This is a community, so it'll be community input. It will be state parks. It will be the state fire marshal. It will be the Office of State Historic Preservation. This is a national landmark. So there will be quite a few conversations of what the community wants, what we can do. And do you want to add to that? Yes, sir.
Were there any sprinklers or smoke alarms in the building?
The building did have smoke alarms, yes.
And so what was the time between the first report of the fire and the time the first engine arrived at the scene?
Again, that's part of the investigation, and I can't share that with you. So.
That's part of the investigation response time?
Correct. So, and I don't have that with me, so.
Some people in the community have expressed surprise that there weren't sprinklers in the building. How would you be your response to them that there were no sprinklers in this treasure of Chico?
Well, so with any historic structure or building, especially one of this significance, one of the things that State Parks does is we have a team of cultural staff and historic staff. We work with our community, the tribes, and a lot of different partners to decide what we're actually going to do when we start putting holes into buildings that are historic and what damage, and there's an assessment of which is more damaging. To put holes in a building with the sprinkler system, the water system, and again, that's much beyond my knowledge, but I know when we've had projects, these are all conversations that we have, and we have with a lot of partners, and a lot of people that have IST behind their names because they're smarter than I am as far as knowing the extent damage, and there's a risk assessment done. So there was fire alarms, there was burglar alarms, but as far as a sprinkler system, again, I can't tell you what the conversations were in the past because I wasn't privy to those.
Those fire alarms monitored externally?
I'm sorry?
Were those fire alarms monitored remotely?
Yes. One more question.
Surely we haven't heard from you in a week, so we get more than one question.
You've had a few, ma'am.
I know.
So does anybody else have a question before? Otherwise, I will give it to you.
In your initial statement, you said that you're the ID people who may be involved. Clarify, is there reason to believe that there may be multiple suspects in this?
At this time, we don't know who did this. And so we are investigating any leads that we can come up with and that we can find. So be it from cameras, be it from tips, be it from whatever it is. And again, I urge the community, if you saw something, you heard something, there's a QR code I will share with everybody here, and then share it so that way we can look into them. I'll give you one more code.
Some people have expressed surprise that there were no security cameras. Can you confirm, were there any security cameras either on the visitor center or on the mansion itself?
As part of the investigation, I can't share that with you right now.
That is also part of the investigation.
Yes, ma'am.
That we can't talk about.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you speak about what the firefighters saw when they first arrived on scene? Was it fully involved?
I can't speak to that. I wasn't.
Part of the investigation?
No, and I wasn't here that first night.
Were there any homeless people camping on the grounds to your knowledge that day?
Not to my knowledge.
Were there any security patrols of this state
Again,
historic site?
we're gonna close this interview.
I have some more questions. Please don't end this. This is the first time you've spoken publicly in 5 days. So we should have the chance as the public to ask the questions the public is asking about.
Okay.
So was there any security patrol that might have like most private companies have security patrols? Were there any security patrols on this property prior to this fire?
State Parks has their own police department, which is one of the things that we do, and we do have patrols. We also work with our partners, and so this location is monitored and looked at by a lot of different agencies. We have partnership.
So there were patrols of this property?
The day before, yes, ma'am.
What time of day are those patrols?
Ma'am, I'm not going to release our patrol patterns and schedules.
So you can say
So,
that there were security patrols of this property?
There are patrols in this area, yes, ma'am.
Of this property?
Yes.
But you can't tell us the most recent.
I'm not going to give
patrol
you, those are all part of the investigation, and I'm not going to give you details into our patrol patterns. So, next question.
The most previous.
Next question.
The one prior to the fire was done the previous day.
I'm not going to release that to you. Okay, next question. Okay.
Can we get your name and title?
Yeah, my name is Aaron Wright, Aaron WRJHT. I'm the district chief for Northern Buttes District of California State Parks. Thank you.
What is it you would like from the public at this point?
Again, I would like the public to reach out. There's a QR code. Reach out and let us know if they saw something, heard something, and allow us to look into it. And I said, be patient. We are working this avidly. There's a lot of people working on this. There's a lot of partnerships, and this is personal to a lot of us. All these gentlemen standing behind me, right? Okay, are all in the same boat. We take this very personal. We take this very serious. We've been meeting daily and talking, and we're using all the resources that we have available. In fact, the state fire marshal this morning commented how many people are involved in this investigation compared to other places within the state, because everybody is putting all their resources and assisting wherever they can with this.
A recent example where law enforcement released considerable information and it helped solve the case was the case of the healthcare CEO shooting in New York City. Do you not think it might be valuable to release a little additional information at this point so the public can find out what type of person you're looking for and have additional clues?
At this time, we've had the conversation of that specific incident, actually, and it's been determined we're going to hold off at the moment. We will follow what leads and what investigation's already doing. And at that point, when we think we should go that route, we will start releasing more information. But at this time, the investigators are recommending or requesting to keep everything close until they feel comfortable that that'd be the best for this investigation.
That morning during the fire, someone from Chico Fire, the assistant fire chief, told one of my colleagues that an individual was seen on some surveillance video walking away from the property. Is that accurate?
I'm not going to comment on what someone else said, and it's part of the investigation, so we're done. All right, thank you, everybody. Turn the mic off. You're going to have to help me with that.